Hey there, and welcome to That's Audacious, where we share entrepreneurial stories from amazing leaders to inspire and motivate you to be bold, brave, and audacious. I'm your host, Lauren Clement, the brand navigator, here to share stories that will make you say, well, that's audacious. Hello and welcome to another episode of the That's Audacious podcast. Really excited with our guest today, the fabulous Matteo Banzon. Now, Matteo, we met in a really interesting way, and I want to talk about that in a minute. But can you just give the listeners a bit of an idea of who you are and what you do and where you've come from?
Yeah, so my name is Matteo Banzon. I'm one of the co-founders at Odin Digital. We basically help businesses in Australia make more money, get more sales, more customers, more bookings, whatever that looks like, through digital marketing. So anything to do with like meta advertising, Google advertising, SEO, websites, we pretty much do. And our goal is to help our clients who are business owners make more profit through these proven digital marketing strategies and financial models.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. Look, I love the way that you do that because it sounds so simple, but really I know that there's a lot of moving parts in the background. Matteo, this is what I wanted to share mostly with the listeners today, because we talk a lot about profile building on this show. And you had a really interesting outreach, which was how you contacted me, which was brilliant. So basically, instead of sending me an email saying, hey, I do this, do you want to work with me? It was an email that said, hey, I do this and you do that. Can I refer my clients to you? Now, isn't that, listeners, that is such a much better way of approaching a cold call or new business opportunity, because you're offering basically to say for free, I'd like to expose you to my database of clients. So Matteo, how did you come up with that approach? And you also, it's not just the approach, you also have a website with a video and everything all set up like a proper funnel. It's so clever. And so I haven't ever seen it done so well before. You should be very proud of that. But what was your thinking behind actually starting to do that?
Yeah, so I think it started with, I reach out to my ideal clients to pitch marketing to them, right? And yeah, I have some success. It's just a volume game at the end of the day. But I just had a thought. And I know a lot of businesses grow in general through partnership referrals or different types of partnerships, right? And I realized if I reach out to one client, that's one client. But if I reach out to a partner who can refer me their clients, then that's like one to many instead of one to one. And on top of that, I realized that there's other services that I don't offer to my clients that work adjacent with my services that will in general benefit my clients, right? So it was like a two-way relationship. And yeah, it wasn't rocket science. When I think about other industries, like for me, I'm a digital marketer, so I don't do any, for example, video content. I don't do any business coaching. So having partners for these things where some clients will need that, I can refer them to my partner, right? And it benefits me a lot because when I'm running ads for my clients, if they have business coaching and if they have in-person video content, that will help with my marketing. So I look better, right? And it, really wasn't rocket science. I think about other industries, like, for example, a real estate agent might partner up with a mortgage broker or something like that. A dentist might get GP referrals to get people to come to the dentistry. And it was just the same thing. So what I did was I took my marketing skills, built a funnel, built some outreach messages, had a really good offer, and treated it as if I was acquiring a new client for myself, but in this case was a new partner. And yeah, you were in that list. And yeah, we figured out that we have adjacent services to the same clients, and here we are.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. It's great. I love the power of partnerships, and you've nailed it in terms of really performing a referral service in a way that's very automated. Loved your website. Love the fact that it's got a video of you on there saying, hey, this is what we do. I'm looking for people to partner with because we can't handle it all. I don't want to do it all that sort of stuff. So if you're listening to this and you're thinking, wow, that's brilliant, It doesn't take much, does it? Get a video of yourself saying, hey, this is what we do. Can't handle it all. I want to partner with people who do other things, and I can send clients to you. You might send clients to me, and let's just work together. What a great way of starting a conversation with somebody that you just never know what might go somewhere. That one-to-many, brilliant. The power of partnerships. Now, you touched on it briefly there, Matteo, and I want to go deeper into this. When you're in the marketing space, we mentioned obviously the big elephant in the room, which is AI and credibility. And if your clients are doing well and performing well, that obviously feeds back into what you're doing as well. So the rising tide lifts all ships, basically. What are you seeing at the moment in terms of what's happening that's eroding people's credibility online in the marketing space, and what should people be doing about that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing would be AI slop, which is like a new term that people have come up with. And it's basically got to the point where, we have all these LLMs, all these AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Manus, Gemini, whatever it is, which is so accessible to the public at a relatively cheap price, meaning there's a low barrier to entry to use these tools. And instead of people doing Google search or doing actual critical thinking, ChatGPT is like their best friend. And ChatGPT is their therapist, their lawyer, their marketer, and everything. And while it's good and it's making things more efficient, and it's a tool that everyone should be using, it's gotten to the point where people overuse it, because I don't believe that AI is at the quality where it can replace humans just yet. It's getting close, and maybe it's sooner than we think. But we just see all this AI slop everywhere. And it's ruining people's credibility because people can spot it from a mile away. It has what we like to call the ChatGPT accent. And people just know it's crap and it was half-assed. So if you're going to half-ass what you put yourself online with, how can people trust you with your services or your product that you won't deliver, that you'll deliver something like half-assed, right? Like it's how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, I love it. Great, absolutely brilliant. And it makes me laugh because I'm dyslexic. So and we write awards, right? So our whole thing that we do is writing. And whenever I see a spelling mistake that I've made, which I make all the time, I go, oh, that can't be good. People will be looking at it going, if she can't even spell on her own social media posts, then what's she going to be like when she writes awards? So I'm very conscious of that. But I think it's now becoming a little bit like people aren't even engaged with what they're creating, are they? They're just creating it, put it out there, bang, it's done. There's no real time spent crafting and developing engaging, compelling content that's actually going to create some sort of noise. It just becomes wallpaper, doesn't it?
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So let's dig a bit deeper again into something else you said around credibility. So when you reached out to me, what was it about helping your clients maybe get into winning awards that would help you as a marketer?
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest thing is credibility is everything, right? Let's be real. When there's a ton of people who do what I do, like digital marketers, and we essentially do more of the same thing, right? Like we're not too different. Well, some people are, and they have their differences, but we're all doing marketing for people. And to stand out, you need credibility, which is social proof, case studies, awards, all these things that help. Because when a potential client is picking who they want, right, they would usually go for the cheapest or the most credible, right? And like, again, with being the cheapest, you pay for what you get. It's probably not as credible anyway. And the ones who are credible are able to charge more because they're worth more. So that's a part of it. But then the other part, which isn't as big, but it's the actual authority linking online, meaning if you have awards and you're listed on these award companies, naturally these are high quality backlinks that will improve your SEO, which is search engine optimization. So when someone does search up a specific keyword to do with your service or product, you're more likely to come up on Google or even on AI searches.
Yeah, brilliant. And I mean, that's a big thing at the moment. People are really worried about this. All sorts of stuff that was working fine before is no longer working. It's not just a case of having a nice looking website with some blogs. It really is. Google calls it EEAT, doesn't it? Expertise, experience, trustworthiness, and authoritativeness. And yep, great, blog. And we encourage people to blog all the time, create great content, but that third-party recognition and those backlinks just make such a difference, don't they? What are you seeing in terms of the types of content that, from a marketing point of view, seem to be working well at the moment? Are they back to that, realistic storytelling, or is it more shock tactics or clickbait? What's really working at the moment, Matteo?
Yeah, there's two ways I want to segment this. So one is like, once someone lands on your content or your page, it's converting them into a customer or converting them into whatever call to action is relevant. But the second part as well is making sure that you show up on these AI searches and Google searches, which is where SEO comes into play, right? So let me touch on the, like converting people on the content first. So we essentially need to be copywriting, which is, it sounds bad, but manipulating people to take a certain action just based off words, right? And you can really do that with how you write copy or the words that you're using. So there is a term called direct response copywriting, where it uses a lot of the language that can convince a certain population to take specific action, right? So if we go back, copywriting has been a thing for hundreds and thousands of years. We go back to things like Valentine's Day, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, even like diamonds is being precious. All of these things aren't necessarily true. And like Valentine's Day was completely made up, but it was written by copywriters to get people to buy chocolates on for Valentine's Day on a specific day. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. They just wanted more bacon sales. So they got a copywriter to make this insane masterpiece of marketing to manipulate that population, right? And essentially, to convert more people in the content, you need to, what I'm seeing working is using these direct response copywriting principles. A great book that I recommend to read is Breakthrough Advertising by Eugene Schwartz, where, that guy has done a lot of things for the public community to manipulate a result, right? So that's in terms of the conversion side of content that I see working for businesses in Australia. The other side is the actual on-site content that can make you rank for specific search terms, whether that's on Google, whether that's on LinkedIn, or even like TikTok search, right? It's essentially just peeling the layers back, figuring out what your ideal clients would search for if you really put yourself in their shoes, and again, like manipulating your website so that you will show up for those specific terms, right? And we touched on this just before the podcast, but we also want to add in a layer of AI searches. So we need to implement FAQs, because the same way someone would search something on Google is not the same way they would search on AI. So we need to account for that. And on a website, right, we would need to have these AI schema FAQs to make sure that we are ranking. So when someone searches up a specific question on AI will say, hey, here's the answer. You should look at this website, and then you can get customers and clients that way as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I love it. Look, if you're listening to this and you're driving, you might want to stop, pull over and take some notes, because these are absolutely gold. We are on the That's Audacious podcast. You're listening to us here live. If you like what you're hearing and you want to hear more like this, please like and subscribe. You will find more episodes in your favorite podcast platform. Now, Matteo, let's talk a little bit about the steps. So we've talked now about, okay, this is what people need to be thinking about. I love what you're sharing, the idea of having FAQs in your website. I mean, it's always been the same, really, hasn't it, with marketing, is understand your customer, put yourself in their shoes, and start creating content that you know is going to be compelling for them. We do exactly the same when we're writing award entries, putting ourselves in the shoes of the judges. What do they want to know? How are we describing something that makes it really easy and effortless for them? And what makes them go, wow, that's impressive. So let's think about all the things that you do. So you do, obviously, Google ads and meta ads and so on. That's creating the traffic to come to a website. But how much more important is it these days that the Google, the way you've set up a website, the SEO, the optimization, the content on your website needs to be absolutely spot on. Otherwise, you're just wasting those clicks and not converting. Are you seeing any trends in terms of what creates a more high conversion rate at the moment?
Yeah, 100%. And I think the biggest thing is the copywriting. As I mentioned before, it's making sure that you are not just selling your product to sell the product, right? Your product is just a vehicle, but really what you're selling is a solution to someone's pain points or some sort of benefit in their lives, right? Like, for example, I like to use a dentist example with this, but when people go to a dental clinic to get teeth whitening, they're not buying teeth whitening. That is just a vehicle to achieve some sort of greater goal. And you can go really deep, and there's many layers to this, but in general, it's like being more confident, right? Having whiter teeth and, being confident in yourself. So people are really just buying confidence and they're not buying teeth whitening. Teeth whitening is just the vehicle to get that confidence. So the way I structured the landing pages for my dental clients is instead of saying, hey, we do teeth whitening, I would say, brighten your smile and increase your confidence through teeth whitening. So it's just these little language tricks that you can use because people don't actually care. They think they care about teeth whitening, but they really just care about the result that it brings to achieve some sort of greater goal beyond that. And the service or product is just the vehicle. Hope that makes sense.
Brilliant. Absolutely. It's been, I mean, you don't buy a Coke because you're thirsty. You buy it because you want to be sociable and be around your friends. You know, that it is about painting a picture in the mind of your ideal client, isn't it, of what the outcome is that they're going to get. Let's talk specifically now very briefly around profile building, because that's obviously what we help people do. And obviously you've got clients who do that as well. What are some of the things that people should be thinking about right now in terms of getting their profile built and out there and being more credible, being seen more, being noticed more? Is there still room for organic, or is it all paid now? Is it all, if you don't pay, you're not going to get seen? What's the balance now in terms of profile building?
Yeah, I think you need a bit of both, and it really depends. Like the way that I think about these things is if we need short-term customers, meaning like we need customers yesterday or new clients yesterday, I would always go to paid because we get an instant result. Whereas organic, which can be ranking on Google for SEO or making your Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn popping off, that takes some time, and you need to have a long time frame of expectation to see that working, right? But they're just as important as each other. And I think organic is a long-term strategy because with paid, it's like you're always limited to the paid channels. Like, for example, Meta or Google, ad costs rise every year. And to get a customer, you'll need to keep spending money. Whereas organic, if you have a system, that compounds, right? On Google, you have to pay per click. So imagine if you want to scale your business 100x, you basically pay 100 times the amount because you're getting 100 times the amount of clicks. Whereas when it's organic, you don't have to pay per click. It's a long-term thing that if you get it right from the start, it will just keep trending up, and it works exponentially as well. So yeah, it really depends at what stage of the business that you're at. But I will say there is always a strong argument for organic in terms of what I call a minimum viable product. Meaning, I always tell my clients to do Google search on the name or the company name. If nothing comes up, we need some sort of minimum viable product. And the best things that you can do is set up a Facebook account, Instagram account, all the social accounts, even having a website or a personal website on your name. All these things that you can get when people search up your name or your company name. Like, for example, if you search up my name, Matteo Banzon, on Google, you'll have my personal website, my company's names, all of the ventures that I've done. The first 3 pages are all to do with me, right? So when I do things like outreach to people like you, I'm sure you would have done a Google search on me. If someone sees an ad from me, if they just want to do a bit of due diligence, they'll do some research. And because I have that credibility, they're more likely to pick me as the person that they want to go with. Like if you put 2 people, if you're choosing between 2 people for a specific service, one has credibility, one doesn't, same everything, who are they going to pick, right? So yeah, there is the argument for a minimum viable product with organic, and you should be doing these things long-term. But in terms of paid organic, it depends where you're at in business to make that decision.
Yeah, and having those key goals and dates in mind. I love that, Matteo. It is all about trust, isn't it? Everything we talk about today, partnerships, attracting the right people, engaging, converting them, everything is about building that trust and that feeling of safety and security that you're working with somebody you can trust and you know they're going to deliver. I love it. Matteo, we are at the end of this fabulous conversation. It's come around far too quickly. I could talk to you for ages, but I always ask the same question of all of our guests on the podcast. If you could go back in time to anywhere in time, in your life and give yourself a bit of advice that would help you for where you are today, what would that advice be?
It's a good question. I think about this a lot. I would say, don't listen to the opinions of others who don't have what you want. I would say, do so much volume and input that it would be unreasonable for you not to succeed. Because a lot of people come to me and say, hey, my marketing didn't work. I'm like, okay, how much did you spend on marketing? I only spent $100. Well, it's like, well, that's probably why. Yeah, I have a fundamental belief that with enough volume and enough work put in, like you will always achieve the result at some point. So yeah, that's my answer.
The one who works the hardest wins. Absolutely. No such thing as a silver bullet or a lucky person. You have to, it's funny, isn't it? The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yeah.
I love it. Matteo, thank you so much. If you would like to find out more about how to work with Matteo, Odin Digital is online. All the links will be below this particular episode. Please reach out to them to get you sorted so that you can start designing your marketing rather than just hitting and hoping and doing a lot of guesswork out there. Matteo, I'm looking forward to working more with you and sending our clients to you and obviously working with your clients to help them with their rewards to build that capability. But more importantly, I really love the fact that you have got such a fresh approach to building partnerships and doing it in such a cohesive way. It's so cool. I love it. Thank you for being on the show. And remember, if you're listening to this, you have what the world needs. You have more than enough skills and talents. Don't shine your light under a bushel. Get out there and be bold, be brave, be audacious. Thanks for tuning in.
Appreciate for having me on the pod.
Thanks so much for listening to the That's Audacious podcast. Remember, there's no place for modesty in business, and you do deserve to be well known, well paid, and wanted. For more episodes, please subscribe to the podcast on your favorite channel or follow us online. The links are in the description below.